I just took a test. I took a test on Friday, and it was a genetics test. And well, I definitely did not have an easy time. It was a genetics test. I found myself unprepared. I found myself a little bit disturbed really at how unprepared I was, especially I walk into class and this kid starts spouting off information about some kind of thing that I really hadn't thought of, something that totally sounded like biochemical whatnot, and I'm, you know, panicking, red lights flashing in my mind, it's just going off, I'm about to panic. So I'm sure you've all had this take place, but these are not the only kinds of tests we have. The tests that we sometimes have don't involve a pen and paper. They don't involve a classroom even. Sometimes they involve the people around us. Sometimes tests come to us. Not everything in life is essentially a test, but when we come up to something that God allows in our way, really, to see not just what we're made of, but to really see if we trust Him, it's an opportunity to be tested. In the Bible, actually in 1 Samuel 25, David is pretty much tested. He is in a situation where there's a feast going on, and he's out there with his band of men. You know, it's like, you might say his posse, it's his group really. They're taking good care of him, they're keep helping him stay safe, because of course Saul has been chasing him around this whole time, because Saul wants him dead. But still he's tramping around the wilderness, and he finds himself nearby the house of someone named Nabal. Now, Nabal is basically the Hebrew word for fool, so you could probably expect that Nabal isn't his real name, and it could be a nickname. But let's just say it's his real name, and his name is Nabal, and his wife Abigail are caretakers of the land out there. And he goes over to them, and it's a good time of year to ask for this type of stuff. So he asks for some provisions, you know, some food, a place to stay, and it's only the nice thing to do in that time of year. Sure, it's not Christmas or anything, it's not the holidays, but it's really all he has. So he does that, and Nabal, apparently living up to his name, decides to blow David off and totally disrespect him. So David, in a moment of really unrighteous indignation, decides to go and attack Nabal's household. So him and his men take everything, they go out there to basically just tear down this house. And what happens is Nabal's wife, Abigail, shows up. She shows up with more than what David asks. Basically, knowing that not only will this bring peace, but that really it'll achieve what she knows is right. Because she knows that while her husband may not be perfect, while, as the Bible even mentions, that her husband isn't even kind to her and doesn't even deserve this, that she knows she has an opportunity to step in spite of everything, in spite of her circumstances, and really successfully give what David is asking for. Not only is she being nice to David, she's being really nice to her husband, because, well, this will all eventually come down on him. So David is really reprimanded by this. He sees Abigail's just sincerity. He sees how she's willing to be just humble in front of him, and he realizes that that's what he's been missing, and he feels that this is what he needs to do. So he backs off, rightfully, and then Abigail has to go back and relay the news. She comes back, and Nabal's drunk, okay? So what is she gonna say? What is she gonna tell Nabal? So she waits till the next day and tells him, and, well, in a matter of days, the news that he picked up, according to the Bible, was way too shocking for him, that he dies 10 days later. So, I believe this story, and I believe that what it's saying, I really believe that what it's saying is, blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Now, this is in here for a reason. Jesus knew that it would be important. He knew that conflicts, you know, not just between us and other people who don't believe in him, but definitely with other people who do believe in Him, with our brothers and sisters, with people in our own nuclear families, people like that we would find trouble with, and we would need to make peace. There's nothing like being able to forgive somebody, and there's nothing like being forgiven, really. It's basically what God does for us. So when we get a chance to forgive someone and do it by action, and not to take their threats or not to take the attempts sometimes at harms that seriously, and just simply give of ourselves instead of giving them a piece of our mind, we do exactly what Jesus wants.